The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to post your comments whether you agree with me or not. And boy, did you guys post comments over the weekend, and we'll get to that in just a second. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio. We are syndicated across the United States. It's 12 million additional households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. I welcome you to the show. We're going to talk about the Wall Street bailout in just a second, but first, this very important programming note for those of you on Paltalk.com. When this show ends at 6 o'clock New York time in 1 hour from now, this Paltalk Studio A will be transformed into Election Central. From now until Election Day, when we are not having a program in Paltalk Studio A, it will be your place to pontificate about the election, to give your opinion, no matter what that opinion may be. All we do is ask you to maintain the rating of the room and treat one another with respect. It's your room to use and to discuss the election from now until Election Day in November. But now, without further ado, this weekend, and normally when I post on the weekend on my blog, it gets a couple of readers and a couple of comments, but boy, oh boy, did I hit a nerve this weekend when I talked about this bailout over here on Wall Street. I kind of gave two images, one of the black cars, the cars for hire, the sleek Lincoln town cars, where the folks on Wall Street that they use, the fat cats, to go to and from work or to and from an expensive steakhouse to wine and dine their clients, or maybe to and from a strip club where they wine and dine their clients. Yes, that's what goes on behind the scenes. And meanwhile, all across the nation, people who have been sold mortgages that they cannot really afford are foreclosing on those. The bank is foreclosing on those mortgages, and there are actually people living in tent cities and in recreational vehicles here in the United States of America. The bailout plan bails out Wall Street, but what does it do for you and me? And does that make it fair? And why would we, if we don't want socialism, if we don't want welfare, if we don't want national health care, if we don't want to fund the Social Security system, if you get the point, for those people who don't pull themselves up by the bootstraps, well, what about these folks on Wall Street? How come we're giving them corporate welfare? Now, I understand something had to be done. I understand that. But there is a point to be made here. Let me go over this plan. It's a $700 billion plan that is being proposed by Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson. He made the circuit yesterday, the talk show circuit on television, to push his proposal, and he is pleading with Congress to quickly pass the plan. The Democrats who are in control of Congress are assuring him that it will be quickly passed in one form or another. The Treasury Department will have the authority to buy up to $700 billion in bad mortgages from the banks. Treasury would then have the power to negotiate prices and resell those mortgages. If the mortgages increased in value, theoretically, the taxpayers could earn money when they get sold. However, toxic mortgages pose tremendous risks for taxpayers. Why? Because private investors haven't been interested in buying them. And that's why we're in the mess to begin with. By taking on the burden of these assets, the Treasury hopes that the banks, now freed from them, will start to lend money to businesses and ordinary citizens once again to get the economy going. Treasury would have to report on the progress of the bailout within 3 months and twice a year after that. Now, I saw, as I'm sure many of you did, Senators McCain and Obama address this issue on 60 Minutes yesterday. They gave them equal time to express their views about their candidacies, their philosophies, their future, the future that they see for the United States of America. McCain actually made a couple of points that I found quite interesting. One, he pointed out that back in 2005, from the well of the Senate, he raised this issue that something had to be done about Fannie and Freddie, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Fell on deaf ears. The guy is in an untenable situation right now. He's running against not just the Democrats, but his own party, blaming his own party for sitting on his hands and doing nothing. Going back to 2005, this administration doing nothing. The warning signs were there, and he said that he would, as he has in the U.S. Senate many times, reach across the aisle. He wants Andrew Cuomo, the current Attorney General in the state of New York and former Housing and Urban Development Secretary under Bill Clinton, a Democrat, to head the Security and Exchange Commission to help pull the United States out of this financial mess. Remember, during the Republican National Convention, the theme was country first. Party second, country first. A lot of Democrats and independents looked at that and said, come on, you guys don't really mean it. But maybe, just maybe, John McCain does mean that. Maybe John McCain does have a vision for solving this problem. But in the short term, this proposal that is before Congress is going to have to be passed, and probably will be passed, before the election, certainly before this session of Congress is over, certainly before the next President of the United States takes the oath of office. How fair is this $700 billion plan? I talked to a Republican friend of mine over the weekend, and I said, this really isn't fair. I told him about what I wrote on the blog.